Now, we have been lied to about so many different things in our life. We have been lied to by every single institution that we know of, religious and government. And we know there are secret societies, mystery schools, and people who have the wealth of knowledge that they do not want to share with the public for, whatever reason. But we also know, and, because we do research and because this is what we are into, that these secret societies, these people who have been in secret societies and in mystery schools and have learned this knowledge, people like myself as well, we teach, and the occult releases a lot of information that is coded with the secrets that they don't want to reveal, straightforward. So if you get into occult knowledge, occult science, a lot of it is esoteric, meaning that, you have to have a certain understanding of knowledge to understand what the subject is about, what they're actually talking about in a lot of esoteric books and videos. So they have been revealing knowledge, for hundreds of years. So many people have been at this. The thing is, a lot of people don't really understand the occult. And we know the occult simply means the hidden. Esoteric, as I just said, simply means, information that's only going to be understood by, select people, very few people with certain knowledge. So esoteric and occult gets a bad rap in the mainstream and by a lot of people due to movies and due to the simple fact that they do not want you to understand this stuff. It's the same thing with, Satanism as well. And it's all geared to hide a wealth of knowledge that they don't want the public to have. So you have to be brave. As I said before, I had to be really brave to go at this stuff and to start researching and reading these books and studying this stuff. So, the journey is definitely a tough one when you keep running into, the boogeyman, running into Satan, demons and stuff like that, every twist and turn. And then it takes a strong mind with understanding to realize that these roadblocks and hurdles are placed in your way for a reason. So now with occult science, you have to really understand, what this stuff is about. And, it's a lot, and it's a lot of people who have been revealing stuff and, releasing books like, H.P. Blavatsky and, Manly P. Hall, Alice A. Bailey, people like that. And the reason why they scare you away from these people is, of course, because of the knowledge. So this is what we're really going to get into and understanding what occult science is really about. And we actually really got into it a little bit in some of the DVDs before, but it's a lot more to it. But, before we start really getting into the, mystery school, deeply with more videos that I have to come, we got to get this understanding. Y'all know how I do it. I like to, begin you with, information so you can, be better prepared for what's to come. So, this is what we're going to talk about. So understand, in the occult world and secret societies, they only want the best and the brightest. If you are smart enough to start to decode this stuff and to understand what they're talking about, it's not going to be hard for you to get into these secret societies if you are in the know. And those who are smart enough, they are welcomed into these secret societies. And those who can handle the more deeper information, the more deeper knowledge, are allowed to excel, to grow in degrees and ranks in these secret societies. This is why secret societies, you see them all at colleges a lot. A lot of these fraternities is where the initiation process begins. A lot of people don't realize that it starts at school, at colleges. And they put it there, and they are allowed to be there because they want the best and the brightest. So if you are in a fraternity and you can, excel in school as well, and you can excel in your fraternity, then you are more likely to be able to understand and go along with what a secret society entails. You're able to keep secrets, about rituals and weird things that regular people would consider satanic or weird or stuff like that, you are really familiar with being in a fraternity. And it's definitely something that'll help you along the way once you start getting into these secret societies. And, what a lot of people got to understand is, and what they don't understand is that they are basically, once you get to these higher levels, the people who are higher than you are just going to use you to fulfill their agenda. That's basically what it is. So they want the best and the brightest on their side, helping them fill their agenda, instead of, being somewhere else. It's a waste, that they call it. It's a waste of talent. The force is strong with this person. We want this person. So we want to get him. The force is knowledge. Basically, we're going to get into that too. So they want you to have a wealth of knowledge, to be familiar with rituals. So the best place for all that kind of stuff, and the best place where a person is more likely to get into that kind of stuff is, of course, in colleges and fraternities. And we know, the Greek fraternities that we have all throughout America. I know in Philly, we have the Greek Week or the Greek Picnic, where a bunch of fraternities come together and they just party, and stuff like that. And it's Greek for a reason. And, that just goes back to ancient Kemet, where they basically stole the knowledge, the Greeks. So the Greeks was the first ones to really start beginning these mystery schools outside of Kemet. After Kemet fell, the Greeks took the knowledge and it was initiating people into their mystery schools and basically copying off what the Egyptians did for them. And, people like Pythagoras and everything, a lot of people came into Kemet and already learned some information from the Egyptians. So of course, later on, more people was wanting to get this information that the Greeks had, because they felt like they can get, the deeper information from the Greeks, because the Greeks was more willing to reveal it instead of the Egyptians who wanted you to wait 40 years. So, the Greeks, of course, used the information with the Romans, and they began to build their empires and stuff like that. But of course, people who was in the bloodline or wealthy enough to afford the initiation to come into the mystery schools, or had a position of power that could be used by, the people higher than them, then of course they was allowed in and they was taught, and, they flourished, and, we know the result of what happened. So the mystery schools begin here. And, of course, it's the stolen knowledge of ancient Kemet, and we see it all over the place, but a lot of people don't realize, exactly what it is. And in the beginning, they basically used this information. They used their knowledge to gain wealth. Of course, they wasn't going to reveal too much information that would give up their advantage in business. So they kept a lot of stuff to themselves, and it was contained within that inner circle of power. But, for the most part, they was beginning to, build their empires, and that's what they used the information for. Anybody who was wealthy enough, usually bought books. Back then, books was like, just as good as money. Some people would trade a lot of things for books, for knowledge instead of for money or for gold or whatever like that, because the knowledge was everything. And this is where knowledge really started to spread. And, the Egyptians still let people in and taught. But, that wasn't enough. Obviously, for the Greeks, they wanted everything for themselves, and they wanted to be the ones who basically was in the position of the Egyptians, which is why they mimicked everything the Egyptians did. So, a lot of people came in and was getting a lot of this information, and the people who was outside of the inner circle really started to, go through this stuff and understand it. They began to understand consciousness and everything like that. This is where, the whole secret society thing had to really come into place, the penalty of death and everything like that, because too many secrets was getting revealed. And what you had was people really dealing with consciousness, because that's basically the whole thing when you start getting into this information. And of course, when you're thinking about consciousness, the first place that you will go to is, the dream world. I mean, if you could think about back then, how fascinated people must have been about the dream world. We take it for granted. It's something that I have been obsessed with my entire life, and, did a lot of research on the dream world. And it's amazing. You go to sleep and you're in this completely different world that seems real. And it seems like everything that's happening there has a purpose. That it's a lot of people, took dreams as being something that you got from God or something that you were supposed to see, something you're supposed to understand. People who had dreams about issues, things that pertain to their civilizations, they was looked at as psychic and stuff like that. And there was a lot of them back then who came out, who interpreted dreams and who spoke about the dream world, which back in ancient days, they was really fascinated by it. So, this is kind of what was leading up to occult science and people really looking into the dream world and everything that pertains to the dream world. Now, science will tell us that the dream world is basically, your brain projecting images that you already seen and can perceive. It's just electrical signals. So, of course, they would say, well, where the hell is the electricity coming from? Where's that energy coming from? The brain does not naturally produce this power, this energy, and it doesn't make sense for this, outside energy, it would seem, to completely affect the entire body. And it's something that they realized later on that, wait a minute, this energy is separate from us. It's a different, this consciousness is totally different from what the body is. And when you understand this leads to a whole lot more information. So now this energy is projecting the dream world at the same time, keeping our bodies alive, keeping us breathing, and waking us up in the morning. And it's at the same time recharging our body, energizing, healing our body. All of this is being done, while you are asleep. It's an amazing thing that they looked at and said, what, this has to be separate from the body because the body is being treated. The body is not treating itself. It's not a physical action that's taking place. It is this energy, this consciousness that is doing all the work. So, of course, they looked at that and said that this has to be separate. So, in the occult world, understand, as I said, the Greeks stole everything. And then we know the Romans, took over the Greeks. So most of the terminology in the occult is in Greek. They use Greek words or Latin words. And this is one of the ways that you can know if somebody is in a secret society or is into the occult by the terms that they use. So you're speaking with somebody, and if you're a Mason and they use certain terms that is only spoken in the lodge, or that Masons use as common words, then that this person is most likely a Mason or is into the occult. So like, we call planets, it's a planet, but they call planets theoi. Theoi means the gods. And from theoi, we get aletheia. Aletheia means the breath of God. Translated into Greek, it means truth and enlightenment. So understand, like in the occult and secret societies, truth and enlightenment is God, plain and simple. Knowledge is God. You can't get no more clear than that. This is what they are talking about every time. Whenever you hear a person speak about God that is a Mason, they are talking about truth and enlightenment. The trick is to fool you into thinking they're talking about Jesus or, Jesus Pop, Jesus Daddy. And they're talking about truth and enlightenment, which is what Jesus represents. So this is why at award shows, this is why rappers and people who are supposed to be in these secret societies or be Masons can wear the Jesus piece. This is why they wear it. This is why they thank Jesus or why they thank God, because they are thinking truth and knowledge, truth and enlightenment. And they have a deeper understanding of what Jesus is and what he represents. Now, at the same time, they are also thinking they're white masters who put them in place, in power, because if you wear the Ankh, it is a symbol for life, also truth and knowledge. So, I would prefer to wear an Ankh, which I always wear Ankh. People always ask me about it. I have a lot of these in various forms. It's also a symbol for truth and enlightenment. So it means you understand, you get it, you are conscious, but understand that the Jesus piece and everything, the cross and all that is not just a symbol for Christianity. A symbol is a symbol for, whatever your knowledge comprehend that symbol means. So a cross may mean one thing to you, may mean something different to another person. So, this is the kind of stuff that the occult do, how they hide information in plain sight. And, a lot of people they really don't understand, what this stuff is really about. The problem is we think that, God is this, creator, this all-seeing, being with power and who did so many things. And, when you really get down to it, as I always say, God is a man-made word and term. It's just that simple. If a person calls you, out of your name or a different name, unless you respond to that name, it's not your name. Somebody keep calling you Tom. Hey, Tom, hey, Tom. And you don't respond, that's not your name. That's not who you are. So unless this God comes and claims his name, his position and power, then we only got to go by, what these people are saying, which nobody has responded to this name. So obviously it must pertain to something else. And it's pertaining to truth and knowledge. It's just that simple. There's no way around that. When you understand in the occult, this is what they're talking about. This is all they care about. Everything is about gnosis, a word you will hear a lot in the occult. It's all about knowledge. Everything is about understanding. And even when you go through the Bible, when you really start reading and paying attention, it's something that comes up a lot, and that you, even in the movies, we're going to go through some of that here too. In the movies, what they're talking about and a lot of things. It's so much stuff that's hidden right in plain sight that a lot of people don't realize deals with occult science and, the esoteric knowledge that, only a few people understand. So even if you wanted to know, what God is, where is God? What is the creator? Who created anything? It requires knowledge. If you wanted power, if you wanted to gain wealth in this world, if you wanted to do anything, it still requires you having knowledge. So knowledge is everything. Knowledge is the key. So truth and knowledge is basically real power. And it's basically, what they teach in the doctrine of the occult, that knowledge is the way. Knowledge is the key, because you can think about getting anything. You can think about getting a car or a house and what you have to do to get that. But that what you have to do requires, that's knowledge. That is information. This is something that we all know. So, if you look at the Bible and you look at religious, doctrine, they basically hide knowledge. These books, parabolize knowledge. It's coded within the books. So this is why, as I said, these books are in Masonic lodges all across the world, because they hide knowledge. The knowledge is hidden within these books. So, if you go back to the Saturn Satan series, we talked about how the subconscious mind has all the knowledge locked away, and you must combine it with your conscious self. You must become aware of what your subconscious mind is doing, what it's talking about. You must combine these things and unlock the rest of your brain, unlock the rest of your DNA, this non-enzyme, non-protein coding, and, gain this information. This is what everything is about. This is what all of it leads up to. And, when you look at the, all of the information and a lot of the books that a lot of these people from the occult world put out, it's the same thing. It's coding this information. But when you get down to, the nitty gritty, to the middle, it's all about this knowledge of self, having this knowledge of self and understanding what that is, so that you can unlock your true potential. Because as the Bible say, as Jesus keep talking about in the book, the power of God, the knowledge, the kingdom of heaven, everything, all that is within you. So the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. You have to unlock it and have a knowledge of self in order to do that. So knowledge is the key. Now, when people say knowledge of self, what does that really mean? A lot of people struggle with that concept, knowledge of self. Now, it's not just understanding who we are as human beings, but also understanding that we are more than just human beings. Remember, we talked about we are made up of many different types of DNA, animal genes. We have literally trillions, 30 to 50 trillion bacterial cells that's basically all over our bodies. Women have more bacterial cells than men. So you're talking about right now, you have, trillions of microscopic, living organisms all over you doing a lot of work. So we're talking about bacterial cells that do everything from, heal your body, heal your wounds, rejuvenate you. And they live off the energy that your body produces, the so-called soul, or the energy that we always talk about. So understand that, if you had control of these organisms and you could get them to do what your body needs, like as far as healing when you need to be healed. Now, right now, because the conscious body, what we are right now when we are awake, it is controlling everything during the awakened state, meaning these bacterial cells cannot function at full capacity. They can only do so when you go to sleep, and that's when the subconscious takes over and start really healing your body. But if you had conscious control over these bacterial cells, the trillions of cells of what the Jedi call midichlorian, basically, you could control and heal everything in your body. So knowing yourself, everything that entails, is really important, and understanding your energy and how to control other energies and organisms that you possess is really a major key. So these bacterial cells live off the energy of our body. When we die, they die as well. This is why, when you die, your body is reduced to a skeleton, to skeletal form, because you no longer have this bacteria working hard, regenerating your body and rejuvenating your organs and everything like that, repairing tissue and everything and muscle. So these organisms die when you die. So it's a major thing when we say understand who you are, and knowing yourself and who you really are and everything like that. It entails a lot more. It's a lot of different things we have to deal with, a lot of different aspects of knowing thyself that we got to touch on before we can really understand the broad picture of what that really means. So now, putting that into perspective and understanding how knowledge of self really works and what that really entails, we then understand the effect of time, on our body. So when you understand about the microorganisms that are healing you using the energy, of your spirit, of your soul, or what have you, and you understand that, it's just a matter of time before, you get old. So you only can get fully repaired and recharged during sleep. So when you are awake, you are susceptible to time. So you are aging. The body is aging. You're getting older. Now, when you go to sleep, these cells, these bacterial cells, only have so much time to repair your body, and then, eventually time wins. So it can't fully repair you 100% while you sleep, because you don't sleep long enough. So over time, as time goes on, you age and age and age, and eventually the cells can no longer repair the body. The body is worn out, the organs are worn out, and when you go to sleep, it's just not enough time for these cells to actually repair you back to 100% capacity. So when you think about the implications of that, if you could, in essence, control these cells 24 hours a day, then you could heal the effects of time, as time, in real time, to say, so to speak. So as you are aging, you could just repair. And you basically are immortal. You become immortal, because then you never are feeling the effects of time. So to kind of sort of put it into perspective, you got about 16 cups in a gallon, I should say. So if you consume 3 cups every day, right, eventually in a week, you're going to be out of water. So 16 cups in a gallon, if you consume 3 cups a day, and when you go to sleep, 1 cup is replaced. This is what I meant to say. 1 cup is replaced. So while you're awake, you get 3 cups to drink. When you go to sleep, 1 cup is replaced. So you can only repeat this cycle about 7 times, about a week. In a week, you're going to be out of water. So this is basically the effect that time has on us in relation to our cells healing us and getting us in the right state, back to 100% capacity. So now when you think about why they are so obsessed with Wolverine, this is basically what he do. Wolverine from X-Men. His body heals. He has that healing state. When he's cut or anything like that, his body automatically heals. This is what we all should do. This is how it should happen if you have full control of these bacterial cells and the cells that regenerate and heal our organs. So when we say knowledge of self, it's so much more than just you getting smart. Reading some books, stuff like that. It's a lot more to that. There's so much more to, understanding the spiritual part of it all, and not just having the knowledge, but understanding the spirituality as well. So now getting back to Aletheia or Aletheia, which is a major symbol for the occult. Aletheia basically meaning the breath of God or truth and enlightenment. When you really get down to it, Aletheia is basically the conscious mind of man. So if you Google it, if you look up the name Aletheia, you'll see basically a bunch of women. This is what it looks like. And you'll see a bunch of companies with that same name, Aletheia, Aletheia. It's a lot of people who have that name because they understand what it represents. They understand that it has power in it. There is power in names. You have to understand what people give their energy to. If you understand what energy means, if you give your energy, positive energy to something, and you adopt that symbol or you adopt that name, then you are receiving that positive energy. And a lot of people look at that as spooky stuff, but they don't get it. We have been tricked into, giving ourselves these weird ghetto ass names like, Killer Mike, Tech 90 Shots, all kinds of weird names that has negativity attached to the name. And these people are, giving good positive energy to such a negative symbol. And, instead of them receiving what the symbol really represents, they are getting your good energy because you are worshiping these negative names. And then when you go ahead and take that name for yourself, you are not getting the positive energy because nobody is worshiping you. You're getting all the negative energy that is behind a name that has to do with killing or murder, the shooter, stuff like that. And you're absorbing the real negative energy of that name. Meanwhile, the celebrity or, the rap star with that negative name is getting positive energy from you through their negative name. So you have to understand how energy works. And again, it sounds like spooky stuff, but you see the results and why these people are on top with these names, and while other people who got these other names like Pookie and Killer J and all kinds of stuff like that, where they at? They're either in prison or, or dead and gone. So you have to understand that one of the things that the occult always speaks about is having names that deals with power. And they always do. If you look at movies that they put out, if you look at just general names that they have, stuff they have in their homes, these people, they understand energy and what it attracts. So by you just having a Buddha in your house, you are putting a lot of positive energy in your home. You just having an Ankh in your house, it's a lot of positive energy attached to that. You have to learn how to then, tap into this stuff and understand what it's talking about. And I'm going to put out a video, I think right after this, that's going to really get into meditation and understanding energy a lot more, how to work with it. So that's probably going to be coming out after this because I get so many requests for this kind of video. But I'm going to take you through what I do and my practices and stuff you need to really understand about energy and how to start working it on this small level and start bringing it up, because your goal is to eventually, as I said, affect your dream world, your dream state in which you are dreaming about, to differentiate between movies, what is reality and what you saw on TV. This is hard. It takes a long time, but you got to start somewhere. We're going to get into that. But you got to understand, the power in names, the power that's in symbols and why they use it. And because they are using it, they are on top and basically controlling everything. So now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I ain't giving my child one of these weirdo white people names or one of these crazy names. And, again, you got to understand the power in names. Like even the Pope, when a Pope is crowned, the new Pope, he changes his entire name. It's the same thing in the military. When you gain a higher rank, your name changes. You become, go from a lieutenant junior grade to a lieutenant, to a lieutenant commander, to a commander, captain, and so on and so forth. Now, these new names, these new ranks instill power, of course. We know that an admiral is a higher rank than, a captain. So if you see an admiral, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, he outranks you. So the power that he gets, the respect that he gets goes with that name and with that title. Now, it's weird in the military and the Navy that we know an admiral outranks a captain. But if that admiral is on a ship where a captain is the CO, the commanding officer, then as long as that admiral is on the ship, he is outranked by the captain, by the commanding officer of the ship. That only makes sense anyway. But, Aletheia, the reason why it's a woman, the reason why, it represents truth and enlightenment is because the woman is, of course, the true human, the true first being on this planet. And that's another thing that you get into with the occult, and the reason why, a lot of secret organizations secret societies really worship the woman. Even in Catholicism, it's more Mary worship than Jesus worship, as you can see, because the woman is the true one, the true divine being. And, it should be a black woman there because, of course, we all come from her. So the woman is worshipped. The woman is looked at as being the truth. Men, we come from women. The races come from women. So we have no clue on the true power and potential that a woman has. I suspect that they do, which is why they try to suppress her power, because if she can have the power to mutate and create a man and then mutate and create the white race and so on and so forth, who knows what, she's really capable of. But this is why they choose the woman. The Statue of Liberty, a woman. You look at the Columbia symbol with the woman holding up the torch. Same thing, like the Statue of Liberty holding up the torch, which basically means, truth and enlightenment, knowledge. So you start connecting these things and start understanding why certain things are in certain places. So when you start getting into this stuff, you find out a lot of things. And when you eventually have the balls to start digging into Satanism and the occult and esoteric studies, you find out a lot about Aletheia. So now I want to read a little bit of this stuff here so you understand what they're talking about in the occult, what this dogma is really about. Now it says here, Aletheia is our God in dogma. It says here, Aletheia is the breath of God or life, the conscious mind of man. And what does Soma find its support? Now understand, Soma is an ancient plant, one of the most sacred plants of the ancient world. It was supposed to give you like rejuvenation and longevity, and it was only known to people who was initiated in the highest orders. It says, what does initiation find its support? Truth, therefore, they say, to the one who is initiated, speak the truth. For it is in the truth that initiation finds its support. And what does truth find its support? The heart, said Yajnavalkya, who was basically this ancient philosopher who lived in the 6th and 7th century BCE. He was basically like a yogi. He was into Hinduism and everything like that. One of the people who I've studied for a long time, and when we'll get to that point, because we have to get into Hinduism and everything like that and these other ancient religions, because there's a lot with it. And what you'll find out is a lot of the mystics, a lot of the people in the mystery schools like Blavatsky, who traveled to Tibet and was really into Hinduism and everything like that, you will see that they was really into this stuff, and that a lot of the information that we get in the occult world comes from a lot of these ancient mystics and yogis and stuff like that, because they was really into mysticism, into consciousness. And a lot of them are what we can call the Jedi. If you really want to get deep into it, they are the good side of the force. And, we're going to get into all that. The heart, says Yajnavalkya, for through the heart, one knows the truth. Therefore, it is in the heart that the truth finds its support. Just so, Yajnavalkya, this cause of truth, for the acceptance of which by science and the Christian world, I am ready to lay down my life without a moment's hesitation. Those who know me will know I speak sincerely and say but what I feel, because I study occultism or ancient spiritualism. I am thought an enemy to the cause of truth, pure and simple. Only the theogony of the ancient wisdom religion may afford a glimpse of the truth. And theogony basically means the ascension of the gods, the genealogy, I should say, of the gods. Now, man cannot possess truth, aletheia, except he participates in the gnosis. So we may say now, no man can know the truth unless he studies the secrets of the pleroma of the occult, of occultism. So, pleroma is basically a spiritual realm, or the spiritual universe for those of you who want to understand that. So no man can know the truth unless he studies the secret of the pleroma of occultism. And these secrets are all in the theogony of the ancient wisdom religion, which is the aletheia of occult science. Okay, that's the important part. And then nature will give up her secrets to those who seek truth for its own sake. Nature gives up her innermost secrets and imparts true wisdom only to him who seeks truth for its own sake and who craves for knowledge in order to confer benefits on others, not on his own unimportant personality. So this is just some of the writings of occultism, and a lot of people, this stuff you can find in a lot of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky's books. A lot of, if you really get into Manly P. Hall, I know he was like a major 33rd degree Mason, but before he died, when he was old and didn't give a fuck, he revealed a lot of information, and it's really esoteric stuff, and a lot of people don't understand unless you really start getting into the gnosis, as it's sound, into occultism and understanding what this stuff is really about. You can see in a lot of people's works, even if you just go online and just Google occult knowledge or occult science books and stuff like that, you will see a lot of people who write this stuff. These are good people. A lot of these people are scientists, researchers who just trying to understand what's going on, who is separate from the inner circle of power and people who is controlling things. So me, like myself, I'm one of those people who get into this stuff and has been into this information for over 15 years. So we put this information out so people can understand. We are basically the good side of the information. The bad side will be people who using it for evil, just like, the article was explaining. You have people who is using information not for their own unimportant, selfish needs, but to get the information out to get people to understand. We need as many heads on this thing as we can get. And we need people to put out information so we can figure this stuff out. You may be 10 times smarter than me. You may be able to comprehend on a different level that I can't. So, it's good for you to have this knowledge. You might not have this knowledge though, but it's good for you to have it so you can comprehend and maybe give the world, maybe the missing pieces that it's missing. We don't know. We have to share this stuff and put it out. And this is what occultism is really about, and the occult sciences really get into. And it's a major piece in our journey and what we've been going through, the last couple of years, the information I've been putting out and you guys have been absorbing. This is a major part. And we can only get here if, you guys really watch the Saturn Satan series and start understanding this stuff. It's not the boogeyman. It's not spooky, and not so many people will even attempt to purchase the DVD or watch the video because it has to do with occultism. And a lot of people are scared of Blavatsky when they see her face. Same thing with Crowley. I had a lot of people say, hey, what the hell you doing putting Aleister Crowley, on the cover of this DVD? They got all this demonic stuff because, they don't get it. They don't understand. So, again, occultism, occult science, it's basically getting into what you really want to know, what you really want to understand about life. And, it's a lot more to it that, we're going to really get into. So it says that nature gives up its innermost secrets to those who basically are seeking the truth. And we discussed in the Voodoo DVD about how, this thing is all about energy. This whole thing about Voodoo and all that is about energy. It's about the universe and understanding nature and everything like that. So, we are supposed to really look deeper into these meanings of nature, what nature is really talking about. So when we discuss the official excuse of how our planet and solar system came into existence, and when you examine it, when we use critical thinking, it implies everything that we talked about implies that the earth came into existence as a result of a coincidence, that it's all a coincidence. It was a supernova that exploded, and it just so happened that these pieces collided with other particles in space, and we just so happened to get the planet Earth that is, perfect. And this is the issue. This is where the problems lie, that when we go ahead and examine this whole story, when we examine the Earth itself in nature, we see that there are too many perfections. So we have to really look into that much deeper. Now, if you understood, a lot of the words that are used in what I just read really go back to Greek words. As I said, theogony, which basically means the genealogy of the gods, is talking about the Greek gods. Remember, the Greek mythology is one of the main things you must study to really understand occultism, because they basically took, because we miss it so much from Egyptian mythology as far as the gods. There's a lot that we know, but when you're trying to figure it out and you're missing pieces, if you understand the Greek mythology and the Greek gods and everything, you can kind of fit the pieces in, because they basically copy exactly from Kemet and just changed the names of the gods and a little bit of the attributes and gave them more attributes, but it's still basically stolen knowledge from Kemet. But again, when people see this stuff, they look at it and they still think it's Satanism and they think it's evil and stuff like that. So they don't get the real knowledge. They don't really understand, what's taking place. I say to people, if you have the genius, the smarts, to get yourself out of Christianity, to look at it and say, well, I know this is bogus. This Christianity shit is bullshit. And then if you understand that Jesus is bullshit, then you understand that Satan is bullshit. So what the fuck is these people talking about in the cult world? What was Aleister Crowley talking about? And that's what really got me into everything. Because once I start studying Crowley, I'm like, well, wait a minute. First of all, we just go back to 80s rock. Go back to the 70s when so many people was just into Aleister Crowley and into his work. Ozzy Osbourne got a song called Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley. It's a crazy song to Aleister Crowley. So I'm like, yo, who is this dude? This dude, I know Satan is bullshit. You had, who was that bought his house? Somebody bought his house and wrote Stairway to Heaven. I believe that was Aleister Crowley's house. They wrote Stairway to Heaven into N when you play the record backwards. And, it has the whole song, My Fair Satan. All this is occultism. Y'all understand how much power that is and what that really is about. It's creepy to you when you listen to it, when you understand, because you don't understand the power behind it. What Crowley did was show you that it exists, which is why a lot of people really look up to Crowley, and it was just theorized for a long time that this stuff was possible. We knew the Egyptians was doing it. We knew the people in a circle had this power and could do certain things. But when Crowley was doing it, when Crowley basically revealed, how it's possible to do this stuff, and people start really getting into magic and getting into everything and understanding this stuff. As I said, you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. And you don't have to follow everything that Crowley did and that other people who follow Crowley did on their path to gain this power, because there are dark ways that we would consider in our society dark ways, a dark path to it. And just because a person took it don't mean you have to discount every single thing that they teach, because again, you can use this for good things. And of course, the good way is definitely the better way to go. And you can't really get too far in the dark side and remain who you are. You will destroy yourself. It's not worth it. But the knowledge is there. It's there for people to understand, and that's what I'm going to be doing in these videos, is guiding you in the correct way and getting you to understand the wrong way. A lot of people are going to go into this information on their own. I always get the comment from some haters who say, oh, well, you ain't teaching nothing that we can't find on YouTube. Well, I'm not buying your DVDs. You're crazy. And whatever. It's not too many people teaching this stuff that one knows it, not being arrogant or anything like that, but two has the balls to put it out.